Hi y'all, welcome to another video in my low spend year budget review. Today we are looking at the month of July, and if you'd like to get an overview of this series rather than coming in the middle of the year, you can go back and look at my January video. I will link that down below. It has a lot more information about the series and why I'm doing it. But long story short, I was doing it to pay off my car. I ended up paying off my car in April using funds from my high yield savings account because what the interest rates were doing with my loan and with just bank interest rates, it didn't make sense to keep that money in there anymore. So I paid it off in April, and now the rest of the year I am paying myself back. So that's what we're doing. Let's take a look at the month of July. Our total household expenses for the month of July were $5,277.81. So that includes mortgage and escrow, internet, car insurance, pet insurance, groceries, utilities, phone lines, HOA. We do have an Amazon Prime subscription. That's the only subscription that we have. And then all the kids' expenses like diapers, which hopefully we'll be done with soon, but also healthcare and health insurance, and daycare, which is by far our biggest expense. It's about $2,500. Yes, I said that right. $2,500 of that total. So it's by far our biggest expense. So that is kind of our big household picture. This month, my part of that was $2,638.91. So that's what I paid toward the household. For my personal expenses, I spent $59.98 in gas for my car, so that was about 2 tanks of gas for me. I spent $314.98 on necessary expenses. So that includes things like replacing consumables. It was a little bit higher this month because I did replace 2 pairs of shoes. I had 1 pair of tennis shoes. There were literally holes in the bottoms of them. I had another pair of work shoes that also, they were like, I couldn't wear them when it was wet out because they would just leak, and they had holes in them as well. And then I did include a haircut in necessary expenses because it was my first haircut in 2 years. So I feel like that's just a normal part of, keeping up personal hygiene, to be honest. So that was extra necessary expenses. I spent $22.84 on gifts. I'm sure this was just random stuff. And I also spent $272.56 on fun stuff. So that included a long weekend at the beach for my kids. This was during the span of time when my husband was traveling abroad. So a lot of that fun stuff, it was the beach weekend, like things like parking, food, all of that sort of thing. But also little outings here and there before we went to the beach, just around our hometown, just to kind of keep the kids engaged, keep them happy, keep their minds off of, daddy being gone for 10 days. And also for us to have fun together and make memories together. So all of those expenses, of my personal expenses together, were $669.86. So my total household expenses and personal expenses came to $3,308.77. So my take-home pay for this month was $3,761.21, which is, if you have been paying very close attention, just very slightly less than last month. Before, I said my salary is always the same month to month. However, our fiscal year starts in July. We're on a July 1st to June 30th fiscal year. So this was my first paycheck of the new fiscal year. And I also have to pay for parking at my job, and that just comes out of my paycheck as a post-tax deduction. So my take-home pay was just a little bit less this month because the parking fees went up this year. And if you're wondering about cost of living raises or anything like that, my salary hasn't changed this year yet, maybe, because I work for the government, and the government where I live has not passed a budget for this fiscal year. So the fiscal year started in July. It's currently August 26th. They usually pass a budget for the next 2 years. The last time they were due to pass a budget, it took them until October to pass a budget. So I didn't see any kind of salary increase until November. And that was 2 years ago. So I have a feeling we're going to be in the same situation. I won't know what my salary for this year is until after they pass the budget, because the legislature determines if I get a cost of living raise or not. Once the budget is passed, if I do get a raise in it, I do receive the back pay back through the July paycheck. So that's fine. It's just kind of the not knowing what you're going to be making for that year that makes budgeting a little bit difficult. Obviously, next month's paycheck is going to be the same as this month's because they've already cut the paycheck. So I get paid the last business day of the month. So even if they determine the budget today, it's too late for that to hit on this month's paycheck. So I will be waiting with bated breath for the legislature to pass a budget so I know if I get a cost of living raise or not. Hoping that I do, because my healthcare costs are going up quite a bit next year, but that doesn't start until January. Anyway, off track. My take-home pay this month was $3,761.21. My income less my expenses this month left me with an extra $452.44. I transferred that money into my savings account to help build it back up after paying off my car, and honestly, I'm pretty pleased with that figure. It's not a whole gob of money, but like I said before, it's the summer. I know I have certain expenses coming up. A little sneak peek for next month, that's when my tags and registration will hit. And that was like $350. So that's fun. But I'm pleased. That's my best month for what I've been able to set aside since April. So definitely best month of the summer. Hopefully August will be better, although it is a more expensive daycare month. So we'll see about that. All right. That's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. If you are on your own low spend year journey, low spend month journey, let's stop buying this certain thing journey, please go ahead and follow along with me, and let's encourage each other down in the comments. I would love to have conversation about that with you guys, and just it helps keep me on track, so I'm sure it helps keep other people on track too. I will see you the next time. Bye.